And I'll cut back and forth for any comments. Uh-oh. It's saying for some reason I can't go live on Facebook. There we go. We're welcome in Facebook now. We're going to do this so it's a little more room for everyone to see. Welcome to this. I think we're live. I'll check it out. We're going to be talking about lettering the DESiRE index right now. And we're going to show you how it's done from my point of view. Before we begin this, I want to let everyone know I have no formal training whatsoever. I learned about Photoshop, must have been in 2004. Even before I worked at Costco, I got a copy of Photoshop. And I started using it to actually put images up. I loved putting font on top of things. I was a comic book fan. I knew I was going to become a comic book creator at that point. So I was excited and I started to really learn lettering, but I learned everything on my own. And, I looked up other people's stuff and I learned more as I run into problems than I actually have learned studying it. I guess I'm just not a study person. So now we're going to be lettering. This goes for the DESiRE index. And the cool thing about learning from the DESiRE index is that there's a lot of words in this. So one of the things I always tell people is that lettering is an art. You have to really make lettering kind of stand out and help promote stories. By helping to promote the story, by showing off art, this helps out a lot. So we are live. So I'm just going to call this a lettering clinic and get to it. So now you're already seeing basically the first part. So I've built the lettering we're going to do. This is going to be my final edit for the lettering that you see on the screen right here. Now, there's different ways to write the scripts and all that. For this one, I actually used an audio program. So what I did is I had an audio program and I kind of put it into place. I sort of read most of it. Some of it I just put into place knowing I was going to be doing a final edit. So the way I do my final edits now is I use Grammarly. And those of you watching and those who don't know, there's TikTok going on right now. That's live, getting shown on TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere except Instagram. But who knows? The reel might make it like go in there. So hopefully we're everywhere people can see this. So what you can't see is that I have Grammarly here that TikTok can see. And I'm going to use Grammarly to check everything. I am dyslexic, so that's definitely an issue for me. And Grammarly gives me a different set of eyes. Here's something everyone gets wrong. Just because you have something like a auto check program does not mean it's going to give you the word you wanted. Also, Grammarly is not always going to get it right. Sometimes the choices it makes, it doesn't understand the cadence that you're trying to get along with. It doesn't understand that. And then you always want to read what even if you have someone else's project and they've given you a lettering script, you are going to want to read what is there after you've done it, because you're just going to pass it off and they're going to pass you a problem back. And trust me, I've done a lot of work behind the scenes fixing other letters' mistakes, and artists or writers who are in charge of the project were just pissed off and asked me to do a favor. So I did a favor and I fixed up the lettering faux pas. So here we go. This is the Fetish Babies, by the way. It's a play on words for those who don't know. It's about people not knowing how to act in a situation. They get too eager and they run around like a baby does, getting in trouble. It has nothing to do with anyone below the consent age. And we'll leave it at that. I'm not even going to pay it any more mind, so I've discussed that way too much. It was just a play on words for people within the community. All right, so this said it didn't need a comma, so I'm going to double check it. Most dominants try to off powerful. See, like right here, I already learned. See, what I meant to say is and this didn't get caught in Grammarly, for those who can't see Grammarly. I wish I could show two screens to you all. You guys can actually go to TikTok and see it if you're watching on Facebook or anything, the Grammarly screen. I just can't show two screens, or I would on that, because I want to let you guys see the lettering. But it doesn't. Grammarly is like any autocorrect. It shows you different highlighted things and suggestions. This says it's completely good, no problem. But if you read it, most dominants try to off powerful, but understand that. See, what you wanted here is most dominants try to come off. And now with my dyslexia and all that, of course I need to do this, but I'll tell you the truth, everyone needs to do this. Now, I also implement an older trick in the way of writing things. Actually goes back to Shakespeare's time. that when you want to emphasize a word, all you have to do is capitalize the first letter. Everyone knows if you have all caps or something, it comes off as screaming. So here we go. Most dominants come off powerful, but understand that submissive has the power. Now, the submissive has the power. It takes, okay. And you want to look this over and you want to play with it. And especially if you're given a script, don't send it back. If you know there's a mistake, reach out immediately. And I've done that on my projects. So, and we want this to be a big title at the top of the page. So here we go. Most dominants try to come off powerful, but understand that a submissive has the power. Never forget, it takes their submission to empower the dom. I won't put /top here just to be. Ooh. Now you see this. This is actually in a gutter for those who don't know. So what I did is to get the spacing right, I actually built in a little gutter. And you notice that suddenly that's not the right size because it was there. So what I'm going to do to fix this, I'm just going to come over here, go /top. Now that's been affected by the different lane that's under it. And again, you can manipulate the lines basically underneath it. So when I do this, it opened up a new thing that gave a little position. Now you can make everything a different layer. It's probably easier, but when I'm on a roll, to be honest with you, I don't want to stop and layer everything. If I can do it all in one edit, that's what I'll do. But you do run into some problems as you go. But I was able to fix that. And I know TikTok doesn't see it there. See the dom top thing? So now what I like to do is to go back over it. So, and emphasize the words. Empower. That should be definitely a word that should have emphasis. So I put the empower there. Most dominants try to come off powerful, but understand that a submissive having that top has the power. Again, the word power gets the uppercase. Never forget, it takes their submission, and the submission should even be uppercase because it's an important word. So basically, the important words get the capital letter. So then we highlight all of this, take it, and then I double check it with Grammarly. And it still says I shouldn't have that comma. So let me read it again. Most dominants try to come off powerful. But understand, now commas also train people how to read. And it might not be grammar correct. I can't grammar. I'm not going to do it. My dyslexia makes me mess with words sometimes where I can't say them right. You know what I mean. It's not the correct way. So because it's not the correct way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it the way I want it to be said. See, I look at commas and I think people are trained to take a pause there. And I want to pause there because I'll read it both ways. Most dominants try to come off powerful, but understand that submissive has the power. Understand that it should be the, not a submissive. The submissive has the power. So then you go again. Most dominants, this is without the comma, by the way. Most dominants try to come off powerful, but understand that the submissive has the power. While it sounds right that way, I like to stop the pause with the comma right there, so I'm going to use it. Might not be grammatical, you know the word, correct, but it works for what I want. As the writer, sometimes I might bend the rules. So now remember I was telling you about that spacing. Notice the spacing between it, kind of problematic. Two ways to do it. You can do this, where you make a line and you just cheat, and you basically made a line, and now you can change that line to 3, and then you just go back and do that. Now changing the font size, which is what I'm doing, brings the letter and it moves the letters, and now everything's the way it's supposed to be. The other way you can do it is that there's this sentence thing, and I want to make sure that everyone can see what I'm doing on the sides. I think you guys can see it. So I'm going to drag this down. I'm going to move it for a second just so I can see that you guys can see when I'm messing with it. So see here, right here, you don't see the drop screen, but there's a drop screen. Right now it's on auto. but they're all different numbers as I'm going down. Again, if you go to TikTok, you can actually see these going on. By the way, it's at MrAnderson.com or Mr. Anderson. You can find this. So this actually makes the difference between how the sentences are. So I'm going to show you real quick. So if we go over here, go back to this, and we highlight all this, then I go over here, and right now it's set to auto. But if I switch it to, like, let's say 14, notice the change? Do that again. See, that actually changes the depth between every one of them. I can put the sentences closer. I can make them further apart. It's an interesting way to kind of play with the art of the words, especially when you're doing something like this. But even if you're having a kerning problem, that's the difference between the letters themselves. You can even play around. Like if you think there's too much space here, you can make it so it's different. I mean, there's so many tricks and trades. I wouldn't use a font that has kerning problems. You can look those up if you notice it and switch to a font that doesn't have it. Those are all tricks you can do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. See, now I went all the way to here. And that's a problem. If you notice how far down it goes, the fact that it goes right there, it's not really something I want. So the first thing I'll do is I want to remove it because that's going to show up as always a problem. So basically right here on the screen, you can see it on TikTok, but for those who can't see it, at however is where that big group that has been texted together, it has this tail that's not supposed to go anywhere. And I just found its origin a hard discussion. So we're going to grab up all of our words and we're going to put them into Grammarly. And then Grammarly is going to look everything over for me. And right now, you can't see it again, but because I have the professional edition of Grammarly, it asks my intent. For this one, I want to inform and I want to describe. So, and formality, it asks me audience, knowledgeable. I don't want to expert because I want it to not be academic or business. So I've set my settings and then it gives me, oh my goodness, 30 alerts. So we've got some work here. And then again, what you want to do is you want to start and you want to read what you're doing. So as I'm editing, I read it out loud. Even when you guys aren't here, I read it out loud. So I start with the paragraph, no matter what submissive title you choose, no matter which, shouldn't be what. So you want to go with a which there. Which submissive title, and again, let's make submissive capital, title you choose, your first, and it wants a comma there, that's a suggestion. And I've been turning and into the ampersand sign just because that's part of my signature and I like using it. I won't use it in comic book lettering, but for something like this, I can get away with it because there's no speech right here. I don't use it in the comic book lettering also, so I can use it for curse words as a replacement letter. So here we go. First and foremost, a person who desires to be treated with respect. So it says, no matter which submissive title you choose, first and foremost. See, now right here, I would put, because this you want to seem important, so capitalize it. First and foremost, a person. See, it says a person who deserves to be treated with respect, but really what we want here is all humans deserve to be treated with respect. And then we're going to use that comma dot, I forgot the name of it, right up there. First and foremost, all, and then we're going to switch this to all humans deserve to be treated with respect. See, now it says passive voice. Deserve to be treated with respect. In that case, it just works for the story, so we're going to leave it. It says inconsistent spacing, so we'll go with one spacing as normal. Never feel like you have to earn any specific title, and this goes for tag because it doesn't want me to repeatedly show up, but for us, title is important, so that's got to stay. From a dom/top, we'll put the top, by doing things you don't. I have do not, but now we're going to go to don't want to do, because this is a blog. This is a character's blog. So as this character's writing this blog, we want it to sound genuine, as if someone is actually writing a blog. So we will do that. Here we go. From a DOM top, by doing things you don't want to do. So here we go. Inconsistent punctuation. I'll just update everything and deal with it as I have to. I don't want to do. You choose as a submissive what goes on. So choose is a good word, but I would rather go determine. I think that'll add some power, and I'll make the D in determine capital. You determine as the submissive. We'll get rid of the comma. You determine as the submissive. Capitalize the submissive part. What goes on? So we're going to change you determine as the submissive what goes on, not the DOM. I won't do the slash top. You give away. Okay, so again, another mistake, and this is why we're doing this. Do not give away your full submission until you know you can trust them. And we're going to switch the and here. There's a comma thing, and they have earned. Up tells me the comma can go away. Switches the comma to a different place until you know you can trust, and we'll do the T as a capital. Trust them, and they have earned, and we'll do the earned with a capital E and then an R. There we go, capitalized. So now we're going to go back over just this character. Again, it's passive voice. I'm going to leave it as a passive voice. It says to get rid of the comma. It keeps switching where the comma wants to be. It does not like the capitalization I do at times, but that's a choice. All right. So it has 5 things. When normally, better to make, safe word together. All right, we're going to accept all those because they look good. All right, so, and then it'll have a green thing for those watching on TikTok. That's what the green thing is. And they have earned the right. Right. Always choose a safe word. That. Safe word. I'm going to put those together. Always choose a safe word you will not remember. You will not only remember, but a word that you wouldn't usually. So we'll go with usually say. And see those little suggestions. That helps. Sometimes I don't like the suggestions. Sometimes I do. It's up to you. It's your voice as the creator. But if you're the letterer, always follow what the lettering script shows you. Because sometimes us writers, we spend hours trying to figure out which is the right word. So then what I'm going to do is I'm done with this. Now that I feel like it's good, I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to put it back into where we got it. And I messed up. So now if you notice this little blue, and I don't know if you get, yeah, you do see it. Okay, so when I'm highlighting it, if you look right under right, there's the little knob. I don't want that knob to be involved. See, it's going under there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right before the period. See, I miss it. All right, so I'm going to go, all right, there we go. So I got it now. We're starting before right. Now that messed it up. So there's some sort of bad code in here that's going to mess us up if we're not careful. There we go. So that fixed it. Now you'll notice, and I'll take this back for that it messed up staying in the boundaries. Now I'm going to give this all a white border. So as long as it doesn't hit the white, I'm in a good place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to move one. And it's going to mess up my whole page, but I'm not going to focus at that because it's not time to look at that just yet. And I want it to look artistically good too. I also pay attention to how the flow of it is. I like it to kind of have a nice look. So I try to make it like step down, like going into a triangle with the words if I can. I'm also noticing that we're not exactly centered right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get us to center a little bit better on the page. And there we are. So now we're centered, I think. And if I want to check it, I'll mess around. Because I could always hit Control Z because I'm using an Apple. And then you can generally find the center. For some reason, it's not letting me at the moment. But here, I'll go up here. There's usually a mark that can get you. There's also a way to dead center it. I forgot the option, but what I'm doing is I'm looking at everything by eye, and I'm actually pretty good at it. I did photo for a long time. I have a lot of the training, and I can tell you right away. Usually within pretty good uh, guesstimate, what is right, what is wrong. So we're going to put this down. We're going to move this over. We're going to bring it more center. And that definitely looks a lot better. Okay, so then we're going to move down a little bit because that gave us that little space between the words. So there we go. And now I messed up the safe word stuff, but we'll get there because we still got to check it. So we're going to go to our second paragraph. Always choose a safe word that you will not only remember, but a word that you wouldn't usually say. Right before play, as always, as the dominant to say what your safe word. So as is supposed to be ask the dominant. So right before play, we're going to capitalize play. I'm also going to get rid of up here. Now we're on to that next one. So always choose a safe word that you will not only remember, but a safe word that wouldn't usually you wouldn't usually say. So always choose or pick. I mean, you could go either way. A safe word, and I have a spacing issue there, that you will not only remember. So let's get rid of always. Let's go choose a safe word that is rememberable, that is easy to remember, but you wouldn't usually say it. Think of something you dislike, in fact. You don't want to pick a safe word that you might accidentally say in play. So, I mean, okay, so it's asking us to rewrite it. Choose a safe word that is, all right, so that is easy to remember, but is a word that you wouldn't usually say. Think of something you dislike, in fact. So then we go over here. Still wants me to rewrite the sentence for clarity. So choose a safe word that is easy to remember, but is a word you wouldn't usually say. So we're going to put wouldn't usually to normally. All right, choose a safe word that is easy to remember, but a word you wouldn't normally. So what I'm going to go with is make this a full sentence so it doesn't become a run-on. So we're going to go with choose a safe word that is easy to remember, but is a word you wouldn't say in the bedroom. A word that you wouldn't say in the bedroom. And I put think of something you dislike, in fact. So it's easy to remember. So if you're afraid of spiders, yelling spider could be the way to go. So in fact, that's still trying to update spacing. There we go. All right. A word you wouldn't say. See, now this is an interesting one because it goes, choose a safe word that is easy to remember, but is a word that you wouldn't say in the bedroom. Think of something you dislike, so it's easy. All right, so we'll put consider using something. So we're gonna, instead of think of, we're gonna consider using something you dislike so it's easy to remember. Okay, so it wants me to do choose a safe word that is easy to remember, but is a word you wouldn't say in the bedroom. And I have the word that you wouldn't say. I'm going to give it to Grammarly this time, so I don't think it's huge difference. And I'm going to go with the grammar on that. So it's choose. So here's our sentence, our paragraph now. Choose a safe word that is easy to remember, but you wouldn't say in the bedroom. Consider using something you dislike so it is easy to remember. See, that's a clear sentence now. And we're going to start this and instead of write, we're going to put end. Before play, always ask the dominant to repeat your safe word. Instead of say, we're going to put repeat. And that's just wordplay. That's what you want to do. As a creator, you want the words to go into a dance. And I'll be honest, despite the back issues, this is one of the major reasons I love lettering with my work. I could do this in a different form and I could do it at a different time, but I like to do it. I like to be the one who has the last ability to touch it. If that makes sense, I want to be, speaking of being dominant, right? I want to be the last one to play with it. I know how that sounds. It is what it is, kids. Just I am who I am, said Popeye the Sailor Man. All right, here we go. So now we're going to want to redo the fitting into our parameters again. So I cut it down, see what we're using with, cut, go up. And this is the luxury of lettering and being able to play with it all day long. And I want to see if I can get it back to 2 sentences. Oops, it's going to be tight. We might have to add a sentence. Now, here's an interesting thing. So if we have to do that, we have to do that. Now, I'm looking down. Do I have enough room? I do have enough room to expand this into it, but let's say I didn't because I want to show you guys since we're here, I actually want to show something of, little tips and tricks. So let's say that you're in this place and you're like, shit, I'm not going to have the room because I was in tight space and now this one change I had to make, it's ruined everything. How do we fix it? Well, that's what I like to do. So we go here, we figure out what this changes. This is on auto. What if we put this as 10? Oh, that made it bigger. So then we go to 8. That made it a little smaller. So what if we do a 6? Oh, that's pretty good. And then you play with it and you make it a 3, and then that has a 3. And now the reason I did all that is because now I'm going to make this a 3 because I can see in the next paragraph we already have problems. So let's get ahead of it. Let's do a 6. And then I'm going to do a 3. So now that's changing the spacing between it. So there's that other trick we can use. But for now, I just want to change this. I'm going to go 6. I would like it a little tighter, so we'll go to a 3. Is a 3 good? Always get rid of your things. Yeah, that'll work. And then here we go. Now, generally speaking, I'll wait until the very end to move back over my safe word things, especially considering I have safe word as 1 or 2. Now, if I'm curious, what if I want to know if safe word is 1 word or 2 word? Because that's something that comes up a lot. What I'll do is I'll type it in as 1 word into Google. This is like a quick hack for anyone who's doing this. So it has safe word here. And it shows it. both ways, I suppose you could see it that way, but safe word does come up in the Urban and Wikipedia. It is accepted in the Oxford Dictionary as one word, so we will stick with one word. So with one word, do I want it to say safe word, or do I want it to say safe word with one? With the W, I don't think separating it if it's one word always has to be. I will do that with Playmates, though, believe it or not. So it's sometimes just how it looks. It's personal choice. I kind of like how it looks with a lowercase word. I hate when your nose itches when you're doing stuff. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. That's where, I don't know what the hell. I think I have a nose hair. All right, so that's it. And this is 30 minutes. So you can see this can be time intensive. Of course, I want to stress right now to everyone that this is a lot of words. As a matter of fact, the words you're seeing on the screen, this could almost be some people's comic book, how many words there are here. So this is a wordy book. It's a very different book because it's a hybrid between a comic book and a regular book, believe it or not. This is the DESiREiNDEX, which is on Kickstarter right now. And it's meant to be educational. It's a hybrid book. And that's who it is. That's what it is. That's how we roll with this. So now, the one thing I will say when you have the bigger words, because the bigger words make it pop, but that top thing has no color to it. So one of the things I would suggest is trying to make it add something to it. So if you can, add maybe color to it. You want to break up, especially when you have a lot of words, you want to have something. We didn't have enough room for art in this one because this one was a very heavy, intensive writing. So right here, I would like to do something to make it. So I want to find what is the important message in all that paragraph. If I can highlight something, so that's what I'll think of, like let's highlight an area. So here we go. You determine as the submissive what goes on. So these two lines are very important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and get myself a box. I'm going to put it like this. Come in, and we're going to use this as almost a highlighter tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the border, and then we're going to highlight with a green because we want to empower them, right? But it doesn't have to be the brightest green. So go to your color picker, and you'll see, I don't know if the screen shows the color. No. So there's a color picker that comes up. And I suggest coming just a little off the bright green. You'll see the change. And that, just a subtle change, not overpowering anymore, not the most colorful thing. And then you want to scroll down in your layers area, and boom, there it goes. You change where it was in the layers. So now that literally put it underneath it. So now we have this thing where it's highlighted, and that's it. That breaks up some of the look of the page. The words I want to pop off, but that statement I do. So I'll use that as a highlighted statement so people can understand it. In the white boxes, those are our big moments, but we also want to do that. So there we go. So we're moving on. Now I do want to be mindful about crossover with the box. So what I'll do with the box is I'll highlight it where it is, and I'll just try to bring it in a little. Just try to bring it in just a little. Now, if I can't bring it in that way, I'm going to give you another tip. Make it bigger. So now it's bigger. We're still on it. It actually allows me a little more give, a little more control over it. So the size, the steps it takes will help you. So this just fit perfectly the way it was. It's an awkward fit because you actually start a sentence at the want to, which is weird, but it works. So pretty excited. Safe words I want to stand out on a page. They're very important. So that's why those are highlighted. So we're on to our third paragraph. Now, as a suggestion, I'll always use spell check at the end. We'll see that. But even if I put it back in because of my dyslexia, and this is for my dyslexia, so you can choose what you want, I always put it back in. And I want to see what it does. And if it doesn't pop anything new up, I figure I'm good, which it did. So now we're on to the next paragraph. So now it says, let's read it along. Be sure to read all the contents of this book. And it says, and ask, but instead, we'll get rid of the end because the end's not that important. Ask the dominant. And this we can, because I think we did dom top in this, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we did. So instead of doing dominant, we're going to put dom top. So just do the switch. The reason I do top in caps is because sub always comes in lowercase, so I put dom to look like that, and top just looks better that way, in my opinion. So that's just literal, just like, it's just what I like. So, all right, it says, be sure to read all the contents of the book. Ask the dom top. Ask the, and see the dom top. Instead of that, we have a moment to say, ask your playmate. And this one, I like the way that it looks to have the playmate lifted up a bit. So it says, ask your playmate questions based on this book if you cannot have them read it. So now, based on this book, if they haven't read it, because I don't want to say everyone has to read it, even though I think everyone should, but at this moment, I'm going to switch it based on this book, and we'll put a comma here and we'll put a they, right, if they haven't read it. And instead of as playmates, go over with your playmate. Go over with your playmate. We're going to do the spacing thing right now. Go over with your playmate questions you have based on reading this book. See, it wants me to do with the playmate, but no, it's your playmate. So we're just going to get rid of that choice. And again, the TikTokers get to see the Grammarly here. So be sure to read all the contents. Contents, I don't like that. So be sure to read everything in this book. I like that better. Be sure to read. Be sure to read this index cover to cover. Before playing. So there we go. Be sure to read this index cover to cover. So we'll put a comma here. Cover to cover before playing. Go over. After going over with your playmates. See, the after doesn't need to be capital, so we'll go after going over with your playmate your questions. Okay, with your playmate. Okay, be sure to read this index cover to cover before playing and after. And after going over your questions. All right, so before playing and after going over with your playmate, after going over your questions, concerns, and topics. Okay. Be sure to read this index cover to cover before playing and after going over your questions, concerns, and topics with your playmate. So now we're going to remove they should have read it because maybe they'll want to read it. I don't know. So we removed that. So we made we made a much better sentence that the reader can enjoy better. But you don't want clunky sentences. Clunky sentences ruin a book. So don't do a clunky sentence if you don't have to. So here we go. Be sure to read this index cover to cover before playing and after going over your questions, concerns, and topics with your playmate. So that involves them. Boom, boom, boom. It tells them to have a conversation, and we'll get rid of this extra playmate. And there it is. This index will help create a baseline for all playmates. Playmates involved based on understanding through conversation. All right. So here we go. Be sure to read this index cover to cover before playing and after going over your questions, concerns, and topics with your playmate. This index will help create a baseline for all playmates involved in the play or dynamic you create based on I like create, based on understanding through conversation. Basically using this as a tool to be able to do that. And then then this is where I'll honestly I'll own this. I get a little wordy sometimes. So this is a time for me to kind of dial it back a bit, because then we go on to, and I'll see if I'll keep some of the DESiRE index will help you build a roadmap to explore the FETHIS and kinky things to try, things you make like to try. Very importantly, never try by establishing limits. So clearly word junk. This is probably when I did speech to text. Sometimes that'll happen with it. So we'll put use the DESiRE index. And we already talked about a blueprint, a baseline. So instead of going to roadmap, well, use the DESiRE index. DESiRE index to make a roadmap of FETAISH, which by the way, I'm making uppercase and the kinky 2. So what I want to do is I want to make this splash. I want it to hit better. So use the DESiRE index to make a roadmap to FETISH, kinky to the. So we're going to do to the right there. You want to explore. And on boundaries. And limits. So now you can see how bad my spelling is. It's popping up horrible. But here we go. Establish boundaries. We're going to do E for because I want that, and limits have to be that way. So now we can even highlight. So now we've turned that whole clunky paragraph into something I think is going to be a lot better. So be sure to read this index cover to cover before playing and after, and I want that after to emphasize, going over your questions, concerns, topics. And I think we're going to even make those, believe it or not. Again, concerns, topics with your playmate. This index will help create a baseline for all playmates involved in the play, or I don't know if we need the play. It's will help create a baseline for all playmates involved in play or the dynamic you create based on understanding through conversation. Use this DESiRE index to make a roadmap to the fetish kinky, oops, shouldn't have said the F word, FETHIS kinky, and we'll put places you want to explore on this journey while establishing, there we go, while establishing boundaries and limits. There we go. It's a much more powerful sentence. Now we're at 47 minutes. I'm not sure. I think I'll cut it off at 47 minutes because at an hour, because I don't necessarily want to go over an hour. I just hopefully have given some people some things to think about. I will play an ad for it, but I think an hour is long enough, and I don't want to waste anyone's time today. I hope you guys are getting something from this, but I wanted to show the energy and the effort that goes into all of this, and I appreciate everyone who showed some love today. And you guys can see this when it's done at the DESiREiNDEX. So we are here in this. So once again, I'll show you how I do it. So I take the paragraph now that we know is formed, and I come over to here, and we're off. Oh, wait, that took out something it shouldn't have. So you gotta be very careful not to go into another box. And of course, it's not set right now, so we're gonna have to reset some things. See, it went in the wrong thing. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna start over. So here we go. Want to make sure we don't get anywhere we don't need to be. So we're gonna hit that. No, it did it again. All right, so I'm not sure why. I'm sure someone could actually answer it. It's more skillful than me. Damn it. It keeps doing that. See, now I have a choice here. I could break this up right now, or I could just be stubborn and figure out why it's not working. So we're going to go with stubborn. And I think, see, I'll be smart. And yep, that's what it is. So it's drawing into the top there naturally for some reason. So if I really want to make this go away, believe it or not, I'm going to have to add and add and add, and then I'll deal with that in a few minutes. So I come over here, I drop that, and there we go. So now I'm off to my problem of, yep, see, now it's going to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get rid of that, because that was where it was attached to. And then again, see, we screwed up. All right, so I do know where the problem is, so we're going to start with the problem. There it is. Now I'm going to go here, highlight it. And this I'm not as worried about anymore because I can fix that situation afterwards. So first I want to, now see, now that's a problem Because what it's doing is, remember how we set it to 3? So I'm going to have to go over here to this, and I'm going to have to fix it. So at least most of this. Here we go. Oh, this one goes out pretty far. Damn. All right. So we're going to do here, and we're going to go to auto. And then we'll see over here we have to fix. All right, so we got some fixing to do. That's for certain. All right, so we'll fix it. First thing we want to do, get rid of what doesn't belong. So we're just going to chop all that up. Here we go. So we're going to, there it goes. And we're going to cut that, and we're going to cut that sentence, and we're going to cut the sentence again. Now, it's not supposed to be so close to the corn sentence, which is probably one not to do on the clock app, because I'll get in trouble. So I'll do that. This will be where we stop. But hopefully you guys have learned some stuff while I'm doing this. There we go, concerns. And again, just setting it up to look right. And this is how much time I really like to spend really playing with the words. I want to get the best story, the one that's easiest to follow to the readers. I don't ever want them to feel like I didn't pour myself over my work. So I do. I absolutely take the time, try to make it look aesthetically pleasing. I try to work it the best way I can to make it something that anyone who has spent a single dollar on this has no regrets over doing that. So I'm going to get rid of this. So that's too close. I don't have a cheap fix. Sometimes there'll be an and that I didn't need that I can, oops. Oh, no, that's fine. So, and now here I am. Well, it fit. It's not the prettiest paragraph that I've had, but it will work. All right, so, and then when I'll come back in here, and I'll look at it and I'll put something colorful, or maybe I'll just change the entire. So what I could do for this one is I could go with, all right, so this is be sure to read the index, right? So we don't have to use necessarily a color that is anything but kind of a, hey, look at me. So we'll use a blue. Oh, damn, everything just went crazy because of my phone dropped on my mouse. All right, so there we go. All right, we're gonna just say okay with this. We don't need any of that. So again, we're gonna go over here to the blue, and we're gonna drop it all the way down here, and there it is. And then we want to do that adjustment, and voila. So now I'm going to show where we're at from where we started. So since we started, oh, that's not far enough down. Why is it missing one? That's weird. It should have gone below it. Let me see. Because I think if I go down here, it disappears. Yeah, that's odd. I'm going to have to bring up the white. Ooh, let's go. Oh, that is weird. Oh, because it's on top of it. Yes. So I'm just going to put that over here. There we go. And that one's higher up. Okay. So there you go. Put together nicely. I am going to go ahead and show you what we've been working on. And I'm going to let you all be on your way. And I'm going to finish this. But yeah, 1 hour to do just a couple paragraphs, but we're also adding an aesthetic to it. We're making it look pretty good. So when you look at lettering, really understand like the way people kind of look at it, they twist and turn over it. I assure you people really do look into these things. So we're going to go over to comics news. And here we go. The DESiRE Index.
Vanilla warning. The flavors mentioned inside are different flavors of life. There will be mixing of flavors and toppings. Some of what is mentioned will require an open mind and deals with real desires and kinks. Vanilla discretion is advised. The DESiRE Index is the next chapter of the Barbara Unleashed franchise and is the first official release from Comics Unleashed, an imprint of Continuum Comics, where comic creations come to life to misbehave and push boundaries. With the season of fertility upon us, there's no better time than now for the DESiRE Index to educate yourself and learn more about your play partners with topics like what are munches, what are safe words, what are safe actions, what are action words, learn how to manage your expectations, learn about red flags to avoid, and even play a new game called Red Light, Green Light BDSM Edition. As stated, this is part of the Barbara Unleashed universe and the newest release from the franchise. And this campaign will have the Kinky Reader Mystery Bag, where no two reward is the same, just like you kinksters. And always remember, not everyone is born to be normal. Some are born to be different. So never apologize for being kinky. For more information about this project, go to TheDESiREiNDEX.com. Thank you for watching this video, and remember, my friends, to stay kinky.
Again, you can find that at the DESiRE Index. I want to thank everyone who spent some time with me today. Hopefully you guys have learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anywhere on the social medias. Maybe we'll make a video out of it. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all in the funny pages.